Mind your ears. I'm accidentally resizing windows. I'm missing the play button. I'm missing the thing on OBS. I'm missing my sanity. Lots of things I'm missing all of a sudden in the last minute. Alright, that should bring up the game. Surely, that brings up the game. Alright, happy Friday. You've made it through another week. Don't worry about the impending week coming in 2 more days. Just take the victory now. Titanium Court, possibly finale stream tonight? I don't know. I have a feeling that I talked about it a little bit last year in Titanium Court, but I have a feeling you can like end it whenever you want. That sounds weird when I say it like that, but like, you know, I think to me, my opinion, I bet an end or an end sequence, a series, like I bet the final leg of the game, whether it's a short final leg or a long final leg, is like the way the game is structured is those keys and going through that gate that we've now opened, and how open-ended it seems that you can get multiple keys in multiple different ways makes it feel like that's like our end, potentially. That's the theory I'm working on. So if that's the case, then it's basically, if that is true, I could just end this game whenever we wanted, right? And I was saying to myself, well, there's still some stuff I want to check out and try and attempt. So who knows how long it takes me to feel satisfied with just then going through the gates, assuming that if that's the end, right? So that's kind of the theory I'm working on. Hello. How are you doing? How's your Friday? Because I can say this right now. I probably don't feel like I'm going to get to the point where I lift every curse in this game, probably. I'm probably not. Now, we have the ability to ask about the curses, seemingly. And then like, we can ask about the curses, and maybe they're all easy to do, and maybe we do it, you know? I don't know. We're gonna vibe check how we feel. We're gonna vibe. We're gonna go based on vibes. So, maybe going through the gates without accomplishing more will give you a bad ending or something. Possible. Very possible, actually. We're gonna see. We'll see. I'm not at the point where I want to officially pull the plug. I think at the end of last stream I was like, I could see myself, if that is the end, I could see myself getting like 1 or 2 more. I mean, we're on the 1 stream now, but 1 or 2 more streams of this, depending on how tonight goes, I guess. But I would also be content seeing an end if that so presents to me, you know? I'm not gonna do the mirror stuff yet. Friday's going when it not work, but I can't be lucky. Sorry to hear that. That's tough. A relatively old personal computer. You date this model to sometime in the 1980s. You remember using machines like this in your elementary school's computer lab? A place perennially 10 years behind the cutting edge. The 2 courtiers observing the painting suddenly gasped and motioned for you to keep quiet. Your Majesty, please, you may think highly of us, but there's no way we are worthy of knowing your age. No hints, please spare us. Vaguely aware of having committed some sort of faux pas, you proceed to hold your tongue. Okay. Dining hall, return to chambers, office. Because I want to make sure, I'm fucking so... Receive petitions. Sorry, I'm adjusting audio. Petitions. Different job. Journal. Oh, here's the different curses. Whoa! Oh, because we did get, like, the phrases of the curses, right? So, they all just filled in here. What are these petitions? Although there are many expectations of the Queen at the court, there are very few certainties. While none of your court seems able to define the exact extent of your duties and privileges as queen, they're happy to make requests of you. Oh, no one asked me what to do. Seeking to order the chaos, you agree to hear their petitions, but only during a designated hour near the start of the day. First in line, a young woman. I love this post. I would love it that every 5th day following the week's start features a feast of great indulgence. Having previously conferred with the court chefs, you confirm that yes, Fridays will be pizza day. Solid. Next, the cat. Meow, my bowel. My bowl is empty, and yet it remains unsatisfied. I believe this to be the work of a cruel sorcerer. Meow. Great queen, I would have you raise a host. Post a considerable bounty. Call upon the finest warriors in the land. Meow. Please consider no cost too burdensome as you work to ensure that my dinner is restored to me. You shake the cat's food bowl so the piles of kibble stuck to the sides collapse to the center. The cat immediately begins eating as you motion the line forward. Next, your scholars, Hop and Skip, approach you simultaneously with dual petitions. My petition is that you grant Hop his petition, and my petition is that you don't grant Skip hers. They look at you expectantly. Skip even pulls out a notebook. You commend them for constructing a simple paradox, but remind them that you are under no obligation to grant any of their petitions. I told you that it wouldn't work. On the contrary, this provides ample data on Her Majesty's capabilities. Finally, the last petitioner, a fairy dressed in soldier's garb, approaches your desk and salutes. Your Majesty, I'm in dire need of some coaching. Puzzled, you ask what particular skill or field of study he hopes to improve in with coaching. He looks around sheepishly. Well, pains me to admit it, but I do not understand the difference between offense and defense. It is a tricky topic. Okay, well, in a competition or conflict between two teams, offense usually refers to the team that's attacking. I see. So in, say, a football game, the team attempting to aggressively take the ball away from the other team must be the offense, correct? Not quite. In most ball games, the team with the ball would be considered the offense because they're in a position to score. He frowns. Despite having to defend the ball, they're not considered defense? The terms are blurry. You can see why he might get confused. You suppose the distinction comes down to what exactly is being attacked or defended. In the case of football, it's the opposing team's goal that is considered under attack whenever your team is on the offensive. Fascinating. Then in the context of the war, what is the court defending? Well, or are we attacking? Do we even have a ball? Well, sometimes you... Oh, apologies, Your Majesty. I've already taken up more than my fair share of your time. I will ruminate on your considerable wisdom. Seems like a commentary there. He salutes again and marches away, leaving you to your own devices for the rest of the morning. Thanks, everyone. Okay, I'm so dead set on beating the goats because we keep getting, like, not being able to beat the goats. I'm, like, dead set. If it's the other thing I did. Wait, did all my other... Oh, no, they're here, right? Dire goats. Okay, I was about to say, did all my other things turn into the curse? The answer is no. Okay, I think we just go. Thermostat. Yeah, comfort. Ooh, love comfort. I'm a big comfort boy. Start with the ability to produce defensive knights. No. Receive a workshop that follows you from the battle. No. Start with extra of that. I'm definitely taking that. Receive a soldier keep. Actually, you know what? Defensive knights are fine. And I'll just take a resource because it's whatever. Alright, do I remember how to play? Barely. Goons. Knights and goons. Robin has... we don't need that. What are my available units? Okay, so we have boat, we have farmer, and we have knight. Defensive knights now, which are pretty good. Sorry. Okay. How about Dedge? Food. Hills. Mountains. Rocks. Like, it would be cool to see the end of this game tonight. You know what I mean? Finale Friday, officially. We don't even have to bend words to say, like, finale Saturday or anything. Wood. There's no way these people are even getting over these rocks. Oh, but there's this guy. Shame. What is this? Absorb surrounding water to recover health. Okay. Receive more instruction in self-defense. Sure, you have the option of purchasing some lessons on self-defense. Pay 1? Yes. Hiya, you know the drill, right? Grab a card and I'll explain how to use it. Driller, shield, thorns. Gathers rocks from hills and defense core. I'm gonna take that. You've gained the ability to produce drillers. Drillers, hey, it's a fun choice. So these guys are super similar to miners. When the core is safe, they'll be gathering stone from hills for you. But when your core is under attack, they'll come defend it. They seem great, right? Problem is, they're not tough at all. It usually takes at least 2 of them to win a fight with a soldier. They're weak. And you'll probably lose 1 of them in the process. But if you have the resources to deploy a bunch of them, they can be pretty effective means of defense. Finally, I should mention that you can also find rangers, which are basically the same as drillers, except they gather wood from forests. And that's also less than any questions. Yes, Sensei. These techniques seem geared towards defending a stronghold. What does this have to do with self-defense? Huh. Sounds like somebody hasn't expanded their concept of the self to include their community yet. Clown. I need more training. Absolute clown behavior. Trade assets. The thing is, I don't... Well, I should be paying attention more to the, like, exchange rate and everything. So when, like, it's like this, I should buy because I'm getting more. For my dollar is stretched. And then it's these, and I should be like, yeah, I'm gonna sell that because... Whatever. You get it. You understand. The problem is the miner, or what was this? Miners or drillers? Good in concept, but now I already have one of these guys. Which are... I mean, I guess they'll dig for us, though. Well. They'll defend. It's fine. Let's see what they can get. Let's see what they got. Oh, those are all defensive. They're not gonna come to my actual... Oh. Those weren't goons. They were all knights that were just gonna defend their thing. I mean, they killed my people, but... It's fine. Alright, we are facing the goats. So I need to make sure I grab money. Shop birds and goons, knights and goons, fields, woods, yes. You feel a slight twinge of irritation as another toll booth comes into view. Right on schedule, Diregoat emerges from the booth and motions to the sign. According to the sign, the current toll is 4. I didn't even... Oh. Can I make money? Oh, shit. Cannot reach the machine during high tide, but you can gaze upon the bounty. Oh, shit, I can't pay the first round. I fucked up already. Because I can't make money during... I'd pay the toll if I could. I'd pay the toll if I could. There we go. Water. Water would stop them. Perfect. Yeah, I set myself up against the goats. Oh, I'm so dead set. No, that was the whole point. I gotta beat the goats. I gotta, for like self-accomplishment. We got close that one time and then died. And then we did the other time and we got to the goats and we were going to win. And then a weird thing happened with, was it the mirror or something? Or something happened that took me away. Or did I watch the music video that ended the fight, maybe? I can't remember exactly. About the fish that have sex and die. It was one of those two things. One of those situations. A selection of goods. Against the mirror, I fought the mirror itself. No, I remember that. Was it... What was the situation where I turned into the monster? I turned into like an octopus monster. Maybe it was that? There was something where I got to the very end and then either I watched the music video thing and that automatically ended the fight, or it was the situation where I turned into the monster and then I did like a completely different game for a little bit. That was like a thing. Dragon's Cough offensive spell. Raise tiles above you one at a time. No. Oh, so I can pay the toll. Okay, during this. This is nice. Okay. Yeah, just pay the toll then. With small bit of resentment, you fork over cash. Goat nods and lifts the barrier for whatever that's worth. Also now joins your side. Alright, that's really good for us. We can just... Oh, I have no money now. Can I sell to the vending machine? Yeah. And let's fight. Go! That rock was a good defense. With the toll paid and the battle weathered, Darko gives you a nod before return, just totally drifting away with the tide. Good shit. Okay, we're doing great. There's no way I lose this. I'm set up for success so easily. This is the perfect. I could have beaten the goats earlier. I could have beaten goats like a long time ago. It's only situations that happen that was like, ah, well, That's a shame. Or like I said, like I got to the end and then it was like the music video skip that I wanted to see, and so I was like, oh, okay, well, strange happenings. We need wood. Wood? Would you like some wood? Would you like wood? I don't think I'm gonna take the egg. I don't think there's a reason for me to take the egg at this point. Kind of like the water around me on this side. For sure. I don't want to move that. I don't want to move anything. Shit. I just don't want to disturb. Fuck it. It is what it is. I'm not taking the egg. Ba-dum. Ba-dum. Now, 3 waters for money. And now, if I just buy and make... Oh, I can make just 2. Wow. That should honestly be enough. Ow, I'm being attacked. Guards, do something! They're a little slow to react sometimes. It's kind of like me. Perfect. Scamps and goons. Wormholes goons. Knights goons. We're not a... We're on a schedule to encounter the second toll booth, home to the second dire goat. Alright, bro, you know the drill. Cross the bridge, toll days, deep, chop chop. I got you. Pay. With a small bit of resentment, you fork over the cash. There we go, that's more like it, bro. Now excuse me while I collect the toll from the other losers. Great. Here we go. Let's see. I want... What's in the storage unit? Oh, yeah. Cool. Very cool. Okay. I need wood. Pretty good defense right here. Can't be touched. Oh, I kind of made goat not, well, good intentions and all. Grab that, grab that. Oh my god, just resource heavy. Centaur Archer, offensive fairy, attacks the enemy from a distance, stopped by hills. I'll take that over... Sell that. I don't think it has to be complicated. Man, it takes the goat so long to come out of his little thing. By the time he's, like, able to even do anything, it's just... Slow goat. Having paid the toll in full, you are in good standing with the goats and can proceed with minimal interference. Scamps, goons, centaurs, goons, scamps, and goons. Goons! Missing water, missing fields. Good. New sign. You and your courtiers observe another sign on the battlefield. A powerful command! Best if we comply. But what are we to stop? To be on the safe side, let's assume all of it. The two of them go rigid, falling to the ground near you. Another courtier approaches you, covering his eyes. Oh no, what tragedy. It is only through my frequent habit of averting my gaze that I'm spared this curse that now afflicts our queen and her subjects. To your knowledge, you're not under the effects of any curses. Your Majesty, how can it be? Even your greatest minds have yielded to the spell. I like this. Does he mean to stop the stop sign? You explain that the sign is for directing traffic and that it should not impact the regular movements of the pedestrians. So it is your faith in cars that protects you? How magnificent. I've never heard of such a thing. But alas, your subjects do not believe in cars. What is to become of them, compelled to stop in such a way? You look at the two on the ground, puzzled. You try explaining that vehicles compelled by the sign to stop are not actually required to remain stopped. Instead, they are permitted to move again after coming to a loosely defined complete stop. Upon hearing this, the fairies on the ground relax and breathe again. Of course, the sign only stipulates stop, singular. If it wished us to remain stopped, it would obviously say stops. We must thank Her Majesty for removing this curse. I would have never come to that conclusion on my own. Wow, I did a curse. I did one? On this day, the Queen of Titanium Court did unburden her people of the curse of petrification, and there was jubilation. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's see. Where the hell am I? Here I am. Scamps and goons. All over the place. I'm honestly fine with that. I can build some good defense. Ba-da, ba-da. I am near... I'm not next to a water thing, damn. That's fine. I can just go... I think 3 of those guys with a couple of these guys is plenty. Mine! Oh, they killed those scamps real quick. Good. Water. Danger all boats. What's the danger here? Danger all volcanoes. Enemy precipitation plus 30%. Archers and goons. Danger all boats. I'll go more enemies. It's fine. It's honestly fine. I can control that. In theory. I can mitigate this. I can mitigate this. Look at him go. Look at him go. He is doing the thing. He is doing the thing. Look at that. I'm perfectly blocked. They cannot get to me. Okay. Let's just move around things up here. I guess here. Cool. Purchase real estate. Oh, I always forget what real estate does until I see the description. I'm like, oh wait, no, it's definitely not necessary. Don't need. Now, if I summon boats, are these people going to attack the boats? Can they from land? That would be upsetting. Boats need wood. Let's not get rid of wood then. I mean, if they do attack the boats, it's whatever. Oh, they are attacking the boats. God. Ah, my boats. With their little swords. Alright, this should be it, right? As the day's final battle approaches, you are once again given the option of replacing it with a musical performance. Now, we did this before. It would count as a victory for us, but in theory, it did not count it as a victory against specifically the goats to knock off on the checklist the victory against the goats. So that's what this is what we ran into. Now it's interesting that it presents it more than once. So that means, in theory, if you really wanted to make sure you just got it counted as a victory, you could just see the musical performance again. I do like that. Listen to that? No. Understood. We wish you the best. The originally scheduled battle. But I will remember the musical performance fondly. Once again, the third dire goat, housed within the third toll booth, awaits your arrival. I bid you welcome again, travelers. Spare the sermons. We understand each other at a deeper level, you and I. And the toll? Right, the toll. Rejoice. Enlightenment can be yours for the insignificant cost of mere 24 monies. Hey, it's cheaper than all your earthly possessions, am I right? Your cheap possessions. Give me that. Pay the goat, yes. With a small bit of resentment, you fork over the cash. Blessings, travelers. Enlightenment is now within your reach. Please, allow me to hold off your pursuers as you take these necessary final steps. Alright, we got this. This shall be easy. Don't worry about it. Gonna just turtle up like we always do. Safely. Also want to make sure I carry enough resources to finish off the cat quest in the pantry. I gotta make sure I'm keeping that in mind. Where the hell is the match? Oh, no, it's not that. Wait. Volcanoes. Volcanoes coming to threaten me? Oh, it's up here. Let's not overthink it. We're gonna have Goat help us. He'll do some stuff on this side. I just need to make sure I defend well enough. And then I'm going to buy resources with the rest of my money because I don't need to carry money into the end. I don't know if I should be concerned about the volcanoes, but shit happens if I die, it's fine. Perfect. With the final toll paid in full, the court is now free to proceed to victory. No goats remain to see you off, leaving you with minor feelings of regret. And then, for a brief moment, just beyond the toll booth, the lanes separating the pieces of the battlefield disappear. The chaos is strangely calming. You suddenly believe it's possible to change in a place like this, to exit as something different than what it entered. Such a notion shocks you with the strength of its allure. But it lasts only for a brief moment. Soon enough, the lanes return, and whatever constitutes order within the tide reasserts itself. That was strange. But economic victory. Let's go. Moral of the story, keep some loose change in your vehicle at all times. With the war now behind you, you encounter a memorial dedicated to its victims. Memorial to those fallen in the war. Casualties 37. Now, having expended much of its energy during the day, the court retires to bed. As night falls and the court's foundations begin to shake, you think you're finally starting to understand what's happening here. Here, just past this victory of day, the pull of the tide is at its weakest. Here, should you successfully exit through the gates, you have a chance of escaping that pull, which might be your best shot at getting home. But also here, the court finds itself unable to persist for long, relying as it does on the pressures of the tide to keep itself whole. At least, that's your best guess for now. Even if it's true, the task before you remains unchanged. Strange. I'll grab my keys, whatever. Nervous about potentially losing them again, you pick up all the keys you've managed to retrieve this far. The keys include key to storage unit, key to success, key for winding a clock, the mystery key, the key to the house you grew up in, and that's it. 5 keys. Let's go to the office. Towards office. Enter office, head towards west wing. Let's go east wing. Oh, new room because we beat the goats, right? The break room, an essential part of any building. Tentacle statue or take a break? I'll take a break. Up close, you're surprised to discover that the water cooler towers over you. That's a very strange looking water cooler. As if that weren't enough, it also hums with the sound of hushed whispers. The longer you stand near it, the more the whispers begin to cohere into something legible. You know what I heard? I heard that those goat brothers are all employed by a terrible troll. I've heard that he threatens them with poverty, with homelessness, with the intervention of inequitable violence. Each powerless to stand against him, they continue to do his terrible bidding. But you know what else I heard? I heard that the troll keeps the brothers separated because he can't stop them when they work together. If only they could be reunited somehow, perhaps the troll could be stopped. That's just what I heard. Oh, probably make it so that you get to the goats and then have all 3 on the field by not paying, and then maybe like pay at the end. Well, that's a shame, and that's about as much as you can stomach. You carefully retreat from the water cooler. After briefly hydrating, that is, you got 2 water. Cool. Have I gotten a high enough score for that one guy? The money guy? The market guy? If that's what you mean, then yes. Did that a while back. Tentacle time. Tentacle. The trophy room. Trophy room. What should you do here? Dragon statue? Gift shop. Break room. I'm gonna look at my accomplishments. Dire goat victories. 1. With an economic victory. Leviathan victories. 2. Defensive. Dragon victories. 1. Defensive. Good for me. Good for me. Back rooms. Which direction should you go now? Must mean don't go that way? Don't go that way? Up? South? West? Right? Let's go west. You end up getting lost. Well, it's another one of these rooms. Damn. Damn. Gift shop. Oh, I have no money to buy the gift. Nah, it's fine. Not too concerned. You return to the side of the pile you previously started building for the benefit of the cat. Yes. Let your legacy be one of grand public works, Grey Queen. Oh, I only need one. Alright, I'm gonna put the stone. And it's done. Trying not to think too hard about why you constructed this pile, you step back and admire your handiwork. The cat wastes no time beginning to climb to his destination. As he makes his ascent, you wonder why he was so eager to get up there in the first place. Hiss! Shh! Our enemy draws near. Stay back, wretch. What is he hissing at? Oh. Wait, is that one of your keys? Meow! Such villainy will no longer be tolerated, thief. Remove yourself from these premises. Have at thee! Chaos promptly ensues. In the brief moment you have to bear witness, one cat escapes and the other chases. Multiple objects are dislodged from the shelves and fall to the floor with a crash. Additional crashes from neighboring rooms and hallways continue to echo as the chase moves further away. Yet somehow, when the dust clears, your beautiful pile remains standing. Phew. That's not all, just as you're preparing to leave, you notice something at your feet. It's one of your keys, presumably fallen from the top of the shelf where the cat had it. Specifically, it's the key to your mailbox. Good to have. You gaze lovingly upon the beauty of your completed pile. That is a beautiful pile, I must say. There's another key, though. Dining hall. Further tutelage on the subtleties of comfort proceeds in the dining hall. Having previously settled the debate in favor of comfort, you come to observe how the new state of things is shaking out. As it stands, thermostat's currently set to comfort 5. What are you doing? What does she mean? This level of comfort's not a new record. Oh, so... Yeah, so? If I'm to achieve mastery of comfort, you must raise it even higher. Should you? Yes. Only if you want to. Now she's all in on comfort. Find a way to reunite the 3 dire goats. Damn, there's so much to do. Earn every type of victory over the dragon. Man, the minutia of things here. See, I may be way off. I may be overthinking it completely. But just knowing AP Thompson and knowing how this game presents itself, I would not be surprised if, like, one of the final messages of this game is, like, somehow baked into, like, just finish the game. Like, if people wanted to keep playing and do things and mark things off and do all, like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, the final curse is, like, some fucking joke thing where it's, like, I'm just putting it, but, like, think, like, oh, you really lifted all the curses, you fucking bozo. You spent all that time, I don't know. Something like, the way that, like, these tasks just keep unfolding after I do things, it's just so interesting to me. It feels like it's ripe for, like, some kind of, like, meta commentary at some point. And that's why I'm so interested in just going through the gates and seeing what happens at some point. Chapel, office, gates, library. What is in the library again at this point? Did I already complete the... Unravel the curses. The list of curses. I forget, does he give me... The visiting dignitary looks up at your approach. Your Majesty, perfect. Shall we discuss a curse and its implications? Implications? Curse of innocence? Curse of innocence. Curse of specialization. Ah yes, some consider specialization to be no curse at all, but I disagree. Escaping it means reaching victory through any and all means available to you. It is not enough to win offensively, you must also be able to defend, deflect. So he's saying that you'll need to achieve every type of victory. Against every major foe, yes. That is so much. Even I look at that and I'm like, oh, that's a lot. Okay, is there a list of all the different types of victory somewhere? You're not sure you found them all. There is, actually. The court has reserved space for every possible victory in its trophy room. Oh, that's convenient. Yes, and a bit presumptuous, if you ask me. But I suppose you could still prove me wrong. What? Did you have a better name for it than the Curse of Specialization? What would you call it? The Curse of Narrow Focus? The Curse of Limited Repertoire? The Curse of a One-Trick Pony? Are those better? You don't know, maybe. Some of these sound better than the Curse of Specialization. Very well. Let's spend the rest of the evening evaluating the merits of these alternate names. Having discussed a curse with you, he begins to ramble and wanders off. Thanks, man. Alright, let's go to the chapel. And then I want to see what happens when we do, like, the mirror. It might not be something complicated, but I do want to see how it unfolds if we just allegedly use the mirror to complete a run. And my guess is that we can just constantly keep getting to this nighttime section where we can just keep, like, powering through a lot of these Puck questions. Puck looks up at your approach, eyes sparkling and fearful. As usual, we have time for one earnest answer. We still have plenty of questions to ask. Why does the court collapse at night? You understand when the court collapses due to military defeat, but why does the court also collapse at night following a victory? I'm going to ask the same of you, my queen. Why do you collapse at night? Is he referring to sleep? You sleep because it's a part of your body's natural rhythms, an essential component of your ability to function. He gestures with his hands. Voila! Voila, indeed. Okay. You hardly wonder just how much time you spent at the court. Has it been hours, days, years? For some reason, a part of you thinks it's been precisely 10 hours, 54 minutes, and 53 seconds since your arrival. I think that's my actual game time. That's funny. But you know for a fact that it can't possibly be true. A shower? Yeah, let's go take a shower. You turn on the water and wait for a bit to heat before stepping in. Today you think about movement. Specifically, you feel about how the court is able to move freely during high tide without making any matches. At first, you thought this merely a useful trick to keep in mind for when no matches are available. But now you recognize it as a powerful tool in your strategic arsenal. Oh, I'm way ahead of you, game. By moving the court directly at key moments, it's much easier to achieve an advantageous position than it is just relied on matches. Additionally, once the court is in an advantageous position, you can just move it back and forth a few times, thus proceeding to low tide. You try to keep these maneuvers in mind, although you found that they can be pretty easy to forget when you're distracted by matches. As those are to leave, you think you've now spent enough time in the shower. Game tips, game tips. Okay, so let's see. The mirror can take you to the evening just past victory, if you so choose. We're not going to look into the mirror, but let's see what happens here. Having mastered the art of self-reflection, you can now use the mirror as a shortcut to evening. Yes. You walk into the mirror and in doing so, slip through the cracks in the court's magic. Oh! You emerge from the mirror on the other side of the day in the court. Yeah, that's exactly what okay, so it's just a simple... Are we down to just read a bunch of puck questions for a bit? We can power through, like, most of these quite easily. Let's ask who the other queen is. Now seems as good a time as any to ask him about the other queen you've heard brief mention of within the court. Upon hearing your question, his face immediately becomes stricken with fear and disgust. He cries out, "Please, don't ask me of her!" Okay, you think you can assume this is a sensitive subject for him. If it makes him that uncomfortable, you can ask something else. As if attempting to interrupt you, the court suddenly shakes violently. No, no, you've asked, and now I must answer! Who is this other queen? Nothing I can say will ever be sufficient. She advances the course of events. She devours magic. She is our patron and our bane. We know nothing of who she really is, or what she really desires, but we can always see her watching. Which is why, honestly, I assumed you would be quite familiar with her already. You're not sure you follow what he's saying. Oh, come on, we've been over this already. She is looking directly at you, right now, as she has been since the moment of your arrival. The hair on the back of your neck stands up in response to this claim. You somehow know that if you turn around, you'll see her. But you resist the urge. With time and repetition comes comfort. Comfort at 6. Oh, we're gonna do this. The enemy soldier gives you a regretful look as he approaches you in the hall, drawing his sword. Screams resound from the courtyard. Truly don't mean you any harm, your majesty. I just play one on TV. What? He runs you through and you awake with a start. Damn. Shower time? Why not? Today you're thinking about shopping. I love thinking about shopping. Specifically, there are two things about the shop that strikes you as odd but convenient. First, you're able to phone in and check the inventory of any shop during high tide when the shops are otherwise closed for business. Second, when a shop is swallowed by the tide, it often returns to the battlefield soon after, but with a new line of products in stock. Oh, interesting, yeah. I didn't consider that. These two facts give rise to an idea. When a shop appears during high tide, you could start by immediately checking its inventory. Then, should there be nothing useful in stock, you might intentionally match the shop away in the hopes that the next shop will have what you need. While such a maneuver would clearly be beneficial to the war effort, it might also be unethical. The question is, do these entities swallowed by the tide experience any sort of harm? Probably. Your scholars, for their part, seem to believe the answer is no. The tide doesn't harm your majesty, it rearranges. But perhaps that qualifies as harm in her majesty's view. I know mortals can be picky about maintaining a single material form. So says your court, implying you should probably just not worry about it and feel free to match away the shop to refresh its inventory. As soon as you are to leave, get out of the shower. Come here, Puck. I've got questions for you. What happens when he runs out of questions? I will ask, the court is a trap. You'd like him to elaborate. In an answer 2? I think there's missing 2. One of your previous questions, he claimed that the court was a trap. An obvious next step would be to ask who or what the court is meant to trap. Except you believe you've already worked that out of your own. Your current theory is that the court is a trap for that entity which he refers to as the other queen or merely her. The same one currently keeping her gaze fixed on you. Which further leads you to believe that if the court is the trap, then you must be the bait. Assuming these theories are more or less accurate, could you now explain to you why the court is trapping the other queen? You, I know what you're doing here. You're trying to get 3 answers through 1 question. You are. Seems a better use of your available time. If one of your assumptions is false, he's welcome to correct you, and you'll accept that as a satisfying answer. You. Fine. Okay, yes. Assuming those theories are correct, there are 2 reasons why the court exists to trap her. But I'll only tell you about one of those reasons tonight. You're not getting 4 answers to 1 question, okay? Fair enough. Okay, well, as you might have gathered by now, she is incredibly dangerous to us fairies. Her mere gaze is toxic, leading us to eventually wither and go stale. Now imagine how dangerous her touch would be, or perhaps her voice. Do you see the whole picture now? The court exists partly as a way to keep her contained, so she might be kept away from everyone else. As he concludes this explanation, he appears to suddenly come to his senses. Lord, what? Can't believe I've been speaking of her so casually. What if she notices? What if she hears? She's right there. Oh Lord, I think she's looking at me. His various what-ifs, however, remain unanswered as the court swept away for the rest of the evening. I like that face. Everything loses focus for a moment, then snaps back together. You aren't completely sure everything is in the same place as it once was, but you don't have the luxury to worry about that right now. Just gonna do it. I see no downside to doing this. I'm getting lore. I'm speaking to Puck. I did my taxes. I paid my dues. This is my benefit for doing the mirror thing. What question next? What are we feeling? Why should we not attempt to lift the curses? Previously, you asked him what he could tell you about the curses afflicting the court. He responded by saying that you should not attempt to lift these curses under any circumstance. You now like him to provide the reason for that assertion. There are many reasons, but they all amount to the same thing. You do not have the experience necessary to differentiate between cosmetic curses and the load-bearing curses. Should you compromise the latter, something like this will happen except permanently. Though this he refers to as naturally the total collapse of the court, which occurs immediately following his answer. That was a quick one. The mornings here are beginning to blend together. Isn't that just so right? Our question list is running low. He hasn't yet answered the first part of your earlier question. Why is his demeanor towards you during the day so cold and unfriendly? Previously, you asked why his demeanor towards you changes at night. His answer was that this is the time of day when he has given up, implying that his aloof behavior towards you during the day is quite intentional. Thus your question, why does he feel the need to intentionally avoid you during the day? Another simple answer. I make every attempt to deflect, divert, or distract you during the day because otherwise I would be forced to answer your questions, my queen. He waits after saying this as if expecting the court to now shatter. It does not, and you believe you know why. His answers provide you with no additional information and is therefore unsatisfying to both you and the court. He scowls. Fine! I normally avoid answering your questions because I know for a fact that moment I answer all of them is the moment I go stale. Does that satisfy your curiosity, my queen? The court answers for you. The silence within the court that greets you this morning is unsettling. You suppose you'll have to get used to this. Possibly just 5 more questions. Tell me where any of my missing keys might be found. You pause. You aren't sure how to phrase this question in a way that doesn't waste it. You are seeking information about your missing keys. Specifically, you wish to know the location of your missing keys. But the most common approach for gathering this information would involve first asking if he knows the location of your keys. Should you ask that, he would simply answer yes or no, and the court would shatter, your question answered. So you would like to phrase your question such that an affirmative answer from him would also include additional information. You think too much, my queen. You are permitted to simply ask, where are my keys? Fine. That'll be your question then. Cannot speak for all your missing keys, but I know the location of at least one of them. Here. He produces a single key from his pocket and tosses it to you. It's one of the spare keys to your apartment. You can tell because the hardware store where you had the copies made put a sticker on them that you never bothered to remove. But this key was not on your keyring when you arrived at the court. You always keep your spare keys in a drawer in your desk at home while you're moving them to give the guests every once in a while. So how did he get this? Did you lose track of one of them? You remember making additional copies at one point because you couldn't find any of the other spares. Did it move from guest to guest until it arrived in Puck's pocket? Or did it somehow travel with you to the court? Naturally, there will be no answer to any of these questions, at least for now. So he's not going to give you the answer to all the keys, he just had one. Very tricky game. The mornings continue to churn. I'll ask how much you return home. Although, maybe I don't know. You've already received directions from the salesman, but you'd like to hear Puck's answer. What do you need to do to return home? Of course, returning home is ever on your mind, my queen. Well, I have a spell you can use that should immediately clear up that problem. Are you ready? Yes, you suppose you are. Then go ahead and click your heels together 3 times. After that, repeat this magic phrase. There's no such thing as home. While the spell fails to return you home, it does provide an answer to your question, and the court collapses in kind. Fuck you, Puck. Fuck Puck. That bastard. Maybe one of the curses is exhausting him of all his questions that you could get. Previously, he claimed that the court is trapping her for 2 reasons, but only explained one of them. You'd like to know the other reason. In answer to one of your previous questions, he explained that the court is a trap for the other queen. Further, he mentioned that there are 2 reasons for trapping her, but only provided one such reason, i.e. to keep fairies safe from her destructive power. Now you'd like to know the second reason. Why must you always ask me of her? Are you trying to torment me? You just want to get the whole picture. Do you also stare at the sun to get the whole picture? But you've asked, so now I must answer. Simply put, there are some who believe her power can be used to cast great works of magic. Makes sense. But they're wrong. Her power is the very antithesis of magic. Ah. Ah. Of course. No. Puck looks somewhat melancholic as you approach. I would use the word grim, personally. After all, you have but a scant few questions remaining for me, don't you? And then it'll be the end. He almost whispers, you could still stop. Oh no, what's he gonna do when I get through all his questions? Why did he insist that you not look in the mirror? Ever since you saw the truth revealed by the mirror, you've had this question on your mind. Why exactly did he work so hard to prevent you from looking in the mirror? Sure, being trapped within your self-reflection for a time was inconvenient, but neither that nor the truth caused any lasting harm. Oh, you've got it all wrong. Keeping you from looking in the mirror had nothing to do with the truth or whatever. It didn't? Of course not. I was just trying to keep you away from that blasted shortcut. Oh. Why? I don't have the answer. I don't have to answer that. That's right, he doesn't. He wanted me to keep me away from the shortcut, because then I would blast through all his questions. He's gonna cease to exist once I've asked all the questions. He'll just poof. Poof into oblivion. Oh, follow-up question. Why was he trying to keep you away from the mirror shortcut? He previously claimed he was trying to prevent you from looking in the mirror specifically so you wouldn't unlock a shortcut. That shortcut being the detour through the mirror that carries you instantly to the evening. Now you wish to know why. Why prevent you from finding the shortcut? And to think this whole time I was terrified you would discover this answer on your own. Instead, I should have been afraid of you forcing it out of me. Very well, I suppose the damage is nearly done. Might as well complete it for you. You see, with that shortcut uncovered, there's nothing to stop you from asking as many questions of me as you wish. That's exactly what I said! Now, do you understand? That blasted mirror placed me completely at your mercy. I just hope you have some... another thing of comfort. I've got the power of the mirror. Nothing can stop me. If I had the mirror in real life, I would use it too. I would fast forward. Wait, isn't that the plot of that that terrible Adam Sandler movie called Click? Doesn't he just fast forward through all the shitty parts of his life? And then, like, the moral of the story is like, oh, if you're always fast forwarding through everything you deem unnecessary or boring or whatever, then your life will just flash before your eyes and it'll be gone or something. I never watched the movie, but I feel like I watched a video that explained the movie at some point to me. Something like that. This is the last question, maybe? Unless this becomes a follow-up. You would like to know how the war started and when. You ask him about how and when the war started. Your Majesty, just a gentle reminder that was 2 questions. Please pick one of them. Fine. Start with how it started. You likely had many of your courtiers tell you that they don't know how the war started. Is that correct? That has been the common response, yes. Well, that's because to us, wars are just storms. In the middle of the deluge, you don't go about asking how the cyclone formed. You take shelter. As evocative as that metaphor is, it's still a metaphor. Wars have human decision-making underpinning them. Okay, fine. Let me try again. I'll be using the term atmosphere to refer to any interconnected system of political, military, economic, and magical pressure, okay? Okay. When this atmosphere becomes unstable, a system can form wherein strong winds begin rotating about a zone of low pressure. As a result, you interrupt, seeing as this is clearly the same metaphor, is it not? What am I supposed to say, my queen? We fairies do not devote ourselves to the material death as you mortals do. Our wars are just noise. They are meaningless. You would be better to try to learn something from a storm, my queen. While you aren't completely satisfied, you can tell that he intends this as a serious answer. The court seems to agree, buckling under your feet as it collapses once more. But with that, all your questions have now been answered. Puck somehow remains calm in his fury. You knew full well what the consequences would be for seeking those answers, yet you sought them anyways. You can't claim ignorance. You can't claim lack of intent. You did this to me. He takes a deep breath. If I must repeat the same phrase for the rest of eternity, so be it. I picked it out long ago. And so Puck uses final words to lay a curse upon you. I see. I see. A curse is lifted. On this day, the Queen of Titanium Court did unburden her people of the curse of curiosity, and there was jubilation. If Puck's expiration at hand, you feel an unsettling rift take form in your mind. Something's wrong. It was too early for him? Your memories are now fragmented. You wouldn't be surprised if events proceed to make even less sense. Perhaps this is the truest form of the curse Puck continues to hurl in your direction. So what happens if I try to... You like that one? I'm gonna look at my to-do list. I may be tempted to just see what happens when I go through the gate. And just accept whatever happens. When we approached the gate before, it said something along the lines of like, oh, if you do this now, it was like doing the whole point of no return type thing. I'm gonna look at my to-do list though. At breakfast, you once again bring up the subject of immortality. You're curious about whether there are any limits or restrictions to the longevity of your fairy courtiers. Your Majesty, astute as ever, you're asking about the deal with our deals. You're correct. Eternal longevity and continuity of flesh and spirit are not free. In exchange, we fairies must endure one or more tragic flaws, the sum of which constitute our deal. But get this, every fairy's deal is unique. For example, part of my deal is that I frequently discuss taboo subjects and inappropriate volume in public places. You notice that she says that the rest of the table has gone silent, your other courtiers avoiding eye contact and staring into their soup. A fairy's deal is something very personal, you see. It's often an embarrassing and dangerous weakness. Or perhaps it's merely a source of frequent internalized shame. The rest of the dining hall quiets down, causing her voice to ring out even louder. Because of this, most fairies will avoid the subject entirely. Diners at the edge of your table begin to silently excuse themselves. But not me. I'm happy to discuss these subjects at length. I can go on and on if you let me. Given that you have many more questions about the nature of these deals, you actually are quite tempted to let her go on and on. But your sense of propriety holds your tongue, and you quickly change the subject. As a result of eating breakfast, you get a small bonus. 10 food. Someone's left a pile of books and papers. You look over a large pile of books and papers. You recognize one of the books at the top of Skip's book, as Skip's Book of Magic Phrases. Other books in the pile include airport paperbacks, gift catalogs, and informational pamphlets from a gastroenterologist's office. Gastroenterologist. You don't really see anything common to all the documents. As you continue to investigate the pile, more of it steps into your office. Good morning, Your Majesty. I brought you some more. That you can see. More of what exactly? Magic words, unbound to any existing purpose. Your Majesty may find it useful in casting the spell. Your mind briefly scrambles to figure out what she's talking about. Your head hurts. You vaguely remember a drunken discussion in the morning recently, but that never happened. Is this the result of Puck's curse? Still, your mouth responds to Skip as if nothing were amiss. You hear yourself telling her that you're a little surprised to see she's as enthusiastic about this as she is. Well, I'm a woman of science. I won't let something like vague notions of blasphemy dictate how I do my research. Commendable, but she seemed far more hesitant during the party. Well, I was the designated driver, but now that your sacred duty is complete, I'm all for your plan, Your Majesty. Let's lift the curse that afflicts her. For the record, I'm not for your plan. Are you two out of your minds? Despite his stated objection, Hop contributes to the pile. Specifically, he contributes a stack of newspaper clippings that, on first glance, all appear to be horse race results. Look, as you know, I enjoy a little bit of blasphemy now and again, but everything in moderation, please. It's broad daylight. I think it's fine. Despite Her Majesty's provocations, there has been no retaliation yet from her. I think it might be safe to assume that there will be none. Okay, sure, maybe. But have you considered every angle? Perhaps she merely tolerates Her Majesty's provocations, to say nothing of ours. Perhaps she missed what was going on under the cover of night and intoxication. Perhaps she simply doesn't mind smack talk. If so, great, but you're proposing doing far more than that. He whispers, "You're speaking of attacking her?" "No, you're not. You're speaking of healing her, removing her curse." "But she is a curse." He briefly shudders upon recognizing his own blasphemy. "Okay, I know I can't stop you. I just have one request. If you're going to cast this ghastly thing, then could you do it, outside?" Actually, he brings up a very important point, Your Majesty. If you cast a spell like this with a very loosely defined target nearby the court, you'll probably end up lifting every single curse on the premises. Lifting every curse, wouldn't that be good? Of course not. Many of the court's curses are load-bearing. Lifting them would severely impact the court's structural stability. Oh. You think you might have lifted a few of them already. Well, with the way your magic works, I guess that can't be helped. Puck will need to do a full inspection after you leave. She looks a bit distraught upon saying this. You'll come say goodbye first, right? You assure her you'll try, although you don't know exactly when it'll happen. She looks a bit embarrassed and says something about finding more references before leaving the room. Soon. Pardon? You'll be leaving soon, right? Not sure I can stand this feeling much longer. What feeling? You know the one. Wheels spinning, suspended in the air, waiting to touch ground. Well, can't make any immediate assurances, but he doesn't seem to hear you. He mutters to himself as he leaves the room. I need a drink before this is done. How strange. His mutterings were very automotive. Ah, you've been waiting for the Leviathan to return. From your journal, you learned of an offering that will permanently ingratiate the creature to the court. This offering involves bringing a pumpkin to the Leviathan, lighting it on fire, and then making the following offerings to the pumpkin in this order. Yeah, you made a note. So to do this, you'll need to make with transporting pumpkin, along with a way to light it on fire. Yeah. Pumpkin. Dire goats. More dire goats. A couple more dragon runs. A couple more Leviathan runs at least. Dire goats, offensive and defensive. All the curses. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to make a controversial decision here shortly. And no one's going to be pleased except for me. Just go back to bed. Why is that new? You look at your bed and consider calling it quits for today. No. Second thought, your business with the waking world remains unfinished. First, I want to see what happens if I go try to visit Puck at this point. Is he gone? Cursing you. He has nothing to say to you that you haven't already heard. Oh. Okay. Because now I'm trying to think. Clearly there's more stuff I could do. The game wants me, in theory, wants me to clear some more curses. I could go ask the person to get more details on the curses specifically to narrow down exactly what it is I'm supposed to do. We know some of the things achieve different types of victories against certain bosses. Do weird things like Leviathan, Pumpkin, Dragon, burn the dragon, do the thing. But I'm like, what are the odds that I'm going to do all those? And if I was to commit to doing those, it would be, I hate to say it, but it would be, because I generally hate having to dictate the way I play a game necessarily around the streams necessarily. But like, Also, this is me assuming I go through the gates and then everything is done and I'm not going to be able to get back to the game. You know what I mean? Because there's a chance maybe it's not all, like, completely gone. Let me see if it gives me the dialogue prompt to see exactly what it says if I try to go out the gates. It's kind of scary. You make an attempt to open the great gates of the court. You've already determined that you own keys can unlock these gates, but 4 of them will be necessary if you want to leave. Oh, I have to go get my keys. Whoops. Forgot I would have to have, grab those keys. The door, because I assumed the door was just going to be unlocked for whatever reason. Okay, so it gave us the rest in the bed option because we can't fall through, or, you know, the court doesn't break by asking Puck a question because we have no more questions to ask a Puck. Storage unit. Key to the apartment, key to the mailbox, key to success, winding a clock, the mystery key, key to the house you grew up in, and that's it. 7 keys. Almost doubled up the key amounts. That's something. That's something. Also, and this may end up being the most controversial thing I say. While I think the gameplay marriage of match 3 to then resource building to then like almost like RTS gameplay thing is very novel and interesting, it's not compelling enough for me to be like, yeah, I'm so down to do it and do the runs just to beat the bosses, all the different forms of the bosses in multiple ways again, just for the checklist. And I know what it sounds like is now I'm just trying to justify my decision I'm about to probably potentially make for the game. And you could say, like, Austin, you don't have to justify anything. You do whatever the fuck you want. But, like, I'm just explaining my thought process here. Where I'm like, sure, me doing at least 6 more runs, assuming I don't lose anything, and then I beat all the bosses in their own special ways over. It's not unfun. I'm just saying I don't know if it's compelling enough for me to be like, oh yeah, checklist, let's go. Whereas the alternative is maybe seeing something interesting here when I open the gates. Let me see the dialogue it gives us. Great gates. You have already determined, yes. Now with enough keys to fit all the locks, you unlock the gates and they swing open slowly but smoothly. Leave the court possibly forever. Possibly forever. Possibly forever? But not for suredly forever. I'm thinking. Like I said, if it really does like force a quit, because this game is really on top of it of literally like auto saving after every little action you take, even during the puzzles. The worst thing that could happen is that this is truly the end of point of no return, and then it goes through, and then if I ever wanted to get back to this, I would have to maybe start completely fresh again. That would be the worst outcome. That's only the worst thing that could happen. I'm not saying that's a bad outcome. I'm just saying that's ultimately... Let's see. Fuck it. With the gates open, you now can leave the court whenever you wish, but you doubt you'll be able to return. Have you truly finished all your business here? Are all of your affairs in order? Okay, this was the dialogue I remember seeing. If so, it might be time to leave. Except you don't think you're done here. It's safe to say that much of your business in the court remains unfinished. Oh, the game is trying to guilt trip me? For instance, many of your keys are still missing. It would be a pity to depart without them. There are also the remaining curses to consider. You might still lift some of them if you stick around. And let's not forget the salesman warned you that you need to fundamentally change before you can safely leave the court. So have you changed? Have you really? Something tells you the answer may be no, but you could still attempt to make an exit if you're feeling bold. I can't tell. See, I think this is why I had this thought before. When I saw this dialogue before, I was like, damn, this feels like it's making some kind of message. I think it's cheekily trying to make me feel guilty for something that truly someone should not feel guilty about. And there's a potential that if I don't lift every curse and get every key and do whatever, then the game would have this dialogue. I don't think it's differentiating between, like, oh, you got fucking most of the keys, or how many keys could there be? Oh, and then, yeah, this, okay, so I do remember this. It's all coming back to me when I was going to leave the court. You will not be able to return. I don't want it to seem like I'm just, like, ready to finish the game, but I also am just so curious what happens. And how many more streams of this would I possibly want to do to just do more? With a bit of hesitancy, I'm going to leave the court. I'm seeing what happens. Having made your decision, you walk through the gates and exit the court. As you walk away from the court, you can feel the early warning signs of high tide. If you were to look back at the court just one more time, now would be the time to do it. Do you look back even just once? Sure. Whether out of lingering doubt about leaving or out of simple sentimentality, you decide to take one last look at the court. And just as you do, you feel yourself being pulled back toward it. Much like your soldiers at the end of a battle, you are unceremoniously yanked back into the court as the tide rushes in. Oh, shit! Oh, it got me. You have to commit. You have to commit to just completely leaving. Damn. The game is really testing if you have the resolve. It's giving you so many chances. Are you sure you want to end the game? I mostly want to leave because of that asshole Puck. If you were to look back, now would be the time to do it. Do you look back? Even just once? At this point, you're sufficiently versed in fairy magic to understand that you should definitely not look back. So you don't. And just as you are about to do so anyway, high tide rolls in, and the choice is no longer yours. With the court out of sight, it's now time to cast a spell. You don't know if you can fix everything, but you can certainly try to fix something. You look through your journal, a complete record of your time here. You certainly hope that somewhere within its pages lies the power necessary to change the creature looking at and through you. You draw forth the emotions attached to a few of the entries, holding them in the air between the two of you. Then you snap your fingers and the spell is cast. The end. Hi. A.P. Thompson here. Titanium Core was mostly created by me, by which I mean I'm the only person who is touching the keyboard, i.e. writing code, dialogue, drawing sprites, composing music for most of this development. But please don't mistake that for doing it alone. A colorful cast of characters has been involved in the game's production since the start. Allow me to introduce some of them. First, my longtime collaborator, Jenny Zhao. Yeah, she was, from... While she didn't have a direct hand to develop the game, she was the first person to show it. Oh, God, she didn't like it very much. She thought there would be latest text or at least some voice acting. Next, Ji and Lee was one of the first people to playtest the game. It was actually playable. They and Kenny's son also frequently feed me dinner. Good pals. Towards the end of the villain, I listen to Jess Hankins and Sandra, the game editors. Shit. This is all the music in the game is written and recorded by me. Guild Star for Force has Belled electric guitar and Cherry Red. Many of the fonts in the game were created by Chevy Ray. Almost all the sound effects in the game are recorded directly by me. A few of the sound effects, I'm gonna have to fucking read this another time. Shit. After several years of development, I signed with fellow Traveler to help publish the game. Of the many fine folks, there are many, here are a few that I worked with directly. This is a cool way of doing your credits. I mean, I'm missing the music that's being played too, which is very unfortunate. Tester is Spencer Hayes. Outside of these direct contacts, the whole operation includes many other individuals who had a hand in the publishing process. It just ended. Which I partly feel is part of the commentary. It made such a big deal about it, and then it was just like, boop. Oh, when I started making this game, my work was supervised by an elderly cat named Chewy. She tried her best, but unfortunately she didn't know how to see the game's completion. Her duties were assumed by a younger cat named Neela, who was overseeing the completion of the game with youthful vigor. I hope the above presentation has given you at least the smallest hint of how magic works. Either way, allow me to be the first to thank you for playing. Aw, cute. Now do I feel like I should have done more? I don't know. And that's it. All that's left for you to do is wait for the bus. The game is over. There's nothing left for you to do other than wait for the bus. Might as well stop playing then. What's in the journal? You look back on your time in the court. Or you can rewatch the different cutscenes. If I hit quit, is it just gonna end? Is it gonna boot me to desktop? Or is it gonna boot me to title, do you think? Place your bets now. What happens when I click this? Oh. It truly is over. What a novel game. Okay, well, we finished that quite early. I could see. Let me see. Out of curiosity. That's not what I meant to do. Okay. What happens? This is like normally stuff I would look up like after streams and stuff. Clearing all curses. Something like that. End of the game. Let me see this. Reddit thread. Alright, everyone ready for me to read a Reddit thread? It's called End of the Game. I finished Titanium Core today. I'm curious what everyone's thoughts are. and what variations on the ending other people got. In my game, I made the deal with Puck, befriended all the bosses but the dragon, and beat the enemy with only a couple of the minor fairies going stale. Went to the bus stop as soon as I was able because I felt bad for what I was doing to the fairies. I've seen from the Steam page discussing that there are alternate challenges you can play with the enemy. I was only able to do war. I've also heard there's a depressing ending if you get rid of all the curses. I got rid of maybe 5 or 6. I kind of wonder what the game was going for with the keys. Initially, I thought the keys were hints at the queen's previous life, but it doesn't seem like they ended up being relevant beyond opening the gate. In late game, the story seems more focused on the deteriorating state of the court than the unpacking the metaphor, which is strange to me because it seems like solving mysteries should be the cause of the court losing its magic. Maybe you can get more answers if we don't make the deal with Puck. What are your interpretations? My ending, I broke a grand total of 2 curses and attempted to leave as soon as I could, with the whole court cheering me on. The librarian went stale. What is all this? What do you mean people went stale? Huh? Who? Huh? Leland went to work at the church. The cat didn't die, maybe because I didn't complete the pantry minigame. I chose a self-defense ending, and the number 2 student showed up and explained. This seems like what I played and finished a completely different game with some of the stuff I'm seeing. What? But these people are saying that they beat just 2 curses. So I mean, I got more keys and curses than these other people and did things. I've seen some discussion on the ending of Steam, and a lot of people seem turned off by it. I definitely get that. I felt pretty deflated by the time I actually hit the ending, but I also give the game a lot of credit. I think it hits at a genuine tension with the ending, the conflict between the desire to know and the love of discovery and magic. There's a few fantasy works that pursue the idea of totalizing knowledge and rationalization being the death of fantasy. And I think this is maybe the best exploration I've seen of those themes. You can get more answers if you want more answers, but at the cost of exhausting what's there. I talked it over with my partner, and she said it reminded her of the Zen saying, "Leave the diamond in the ground." I think that sums it up really well. I feel as if, I'm trying to think. If I'm reading these other people's things, they keep saying this word stale, like some of the fairies, and that just makes it seem like you would do runs after runs after runs. Did I not see that because I did less runs and I got maybe the mirror early, and then once I abused the mirror power, I was just going through, seeing things, and then just went fast? Because like I said, I did more curses, it seems, than some of these people I'm seeing. They're talking about like, oh, people turn stale and then fucking... I just finished my all curses game, spoilers below. After getting my last curse and having all the fairies go stale, including the cat dying, the enemy appears, goes stale, and the castle breaks apart, earning you the last curse. But at what cost? You're left to fend for yourself in the tide of various court job icons. This game is so sad. To be honest, I was interested. Here's good. I mean, we're kind of talking about it, but... So, spoilers if you don't want to know. But to be honest, I was interested in this game, someone says, until I read an article that said the NPCs essentially die permanently if you are a completionist and play the game too much. And then someone replied, it is not really fundamentally different from any other pre-made game where NPCs eventually say everything they're ever going to say. It is just that in Titanium Court, that state is an actual thing in universe. Basically the same kind of wacky self-aware humor that permeates the whole game. Okay. So I'm getting the sense that if I would have exhausted even more things, whether it's more curses or more keys or fucking whatever, that like I think that's what it means by stale. I think if you like exhaust certain aspects and try to see more and more, then those characters tied to whatever you're seeing might end up. People are throwing around the term stale, but just like they die off. So because I wasn't exhausting everything, which then goes back to kind of what I was saying before, uh, where I was getting the sense at some point in the game where it was like almost, it was simultaneously like at the very ending when you right before you walk through the gate, it's like, oh, you didn't see this and there's still curses to lift and everything, but then there were other mentions during the game where it made it feel like there were certain moments where it seemed like the game was trying to, like, in a weird way, manipulate maybe, but be like, you know, it's not always worth it to just complete see the end of something or complete a thing just for the sake of completing a thing. I don't know. That's kind of what I feel now, especially reading apparently what some of these people are saying about the endings. Interesting. And like I said, on a pure gameplay level, I think the like I was saying earlier, the combination of the different gameplay moments is interesting, to say the least. I think it's an interesting gameplay loop, but it's not something that would have kept my interest in being like, okay, well, now let me try to beat the dragon, but I got to have the fire job class, whatever thing, and then see, like that just didn't seem 100% interesting to me. I think I like this game for, like, I definitely think if I was to play this game for hours and hours and hours more, just to, even if it didn't have the depressing potential ending stuff happening, I think I would probably grow to be like more tired of its gameplay loop if I was to try to beat everything in the way that the to-do list had me attempting, you know, telling me that I should be doing it. If that makes sense. Like, I would get more tired of it. Like, it would definitely have I would say the gameplay loop probably would have overstayed its welcome in my brain if I was to keep going at it with the different things. Like, it wasn't holding past that. Like, what did I play? It says almost 12 hours. That's like a good amount of time in my opinion. And I would say, gameplay aside, I think my favorite moments of this game were the weird, and I don't want to say zany because that just sounds like, ooh, wacky, but like the bizarre moments, the delightfully bizarre moments in the game that we had, and the off kilter like sense of humor in a lot of the writing and stuff. It was good. But I think that's it. I think we call this, I mean, I think we have to call this the finale to Titanium Court. Or we just start from the very beginning. We speed run this. Now that we know what we're doing, we now see it's kind of like doing what is it? Undertale. We did pretty much almost a pacifist run, sort of. We did a middle run. We did a not all the way pacifist and not all the way, what do they call it, genocide run. Now we go the full opposite. We tilt the scale. We do everything. I commit 20 more streams to Titanium Court. No one sees any other game on this channel for another 2 months. Or just a month. It'll probably be a month. Do I call it there? Yeah, I think we call it there. I'm too lazy to boot up anything else tonight. Let's just call it a night. Let's call it early. Let's see. What are we doing this weekend? So I think I'm gonna start Xenoblade Chronicles on Monday. I'll put that out into the universe now, so that we start Monday early next week. Big new game. Big might be an understatement as far as like hours goes, right? We know that's gonna be a thing. But other than that, this weekend probably we'll see some We'll probably see Nier Automata. We'll probably see a bit. We'll definitely see some. At the very least, we'll see Nier Automata, and we'll see Of the Devil, continuing episode 2. We might sneak in a little bit of Raging Loop extra stories on one of those days as well. But I would say probably tomorrow at some point, Nier Automata, Sunday probably at some point, Of the Devil, and then maybe Raging Loop snuck in on one of those days. And then Xenoblade Chronicles on Monday. The next 3 days. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. No, I don't think so. All right. Then that's good. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching the Titanium Court series. If you're a VOD watcher, a live watcher, a little bit of both. I would highly recommend AP Thompson's other game he had help working on. I recently beat on the channel, Consume Me. I really liked Consume Me last year, and highly recommend that. That was a good time as well. Has some good moments. If you're like, oh, I really liked the... Because as far as I understand, I don't know if it's so broken down, so black and white like this, but I think AP Thompson had a big hand in like the gameplay kind of like aspect to Consume Me. So like the balancing of the tasks and everything. And that was a fun game and a fun series, I think, on the channel. So that'll be that's a certified Austin recommended next series to watch if you watch Titanium Court. If not, like I said, this weekend, Nier Automata tomorrow, probably at some point. Maybe afternoon or so. So, again, thanks for watching. Have a nice night. Take it easy. I'll be back tomorrow. Till then.